Hey everybody, welcome back to the Beyond the Leash podcast where we talk all the things of service dogs, training, life, advocacy, and everything in between. I am your host, Service Dog Educator.
And I'm Bumblebee.
Today we are diving into one of personally my favorite episodes going to be of this year, our Thanksgiving special. Whether you are traveling, hosting, or keeping it simple this holiday, we are here to talk about the things to keep your service dog safe, calm, and included. So grab some hot cocoa, settle in, and let's get into this. Alright, so the first topic we have for this Thanksgiving special is traveling with medical gear and service and dog equipment. Packing list for both handler and the dog, including meds, gear, documents, and backups. So basically what we're going to talk about in this topic is all what you should bring if you are traveling with the service dog, how to accommodate your service dog with travel and during this festive time of the year. So I'm going to let Bumble start out with this one because she's more of the trainer aspect, and then I'll get into like what I did with my service dog when he was working and everything. So Bumble, I'm going to let you get started with that.
So typically what I pack in my suitcases is I usually have 2 small suitcases and a backpack. Of course, something for me, and then of course my dogs, and then whatever else I need, like my electronics. With your dog, usually you want to make sure that you have, I always recommend, even though you already have a collar, have a backup collar, backup leash. You never know when you could use it. I also recommend, disinfectant wipes and, of course, a lot of poo bags. You never know when you can use them. I also recommend, packing any, necessary dog gear. Like if you're going somewhere cold, boots. Bring your dog boots. Those are very, very important because, just like how humans have very sensitive feet, dogs have sensitive feet. Last thing you want to do is have them accidentally step on something, out in the backyard, or, if you're going to like Walmart or, Target and somebody drops something. That's usually what happens around my area is people drop things. Let's see, what else can you bring? Of course, bring your treats. Bring plenty of dog food. And that's pretty much what I pack. I also pack a long line because, again, dog training never stops, so always have a long line just in case. Your documentation, of course, if you have a note from your doctor, bring that with you because just in case. It's a just in case scenario. You would rather have it, not need it, than need it and not have it. Vaccination records, that's also important. Accidents happen. Accidents will happen. They'll happen on the worst day possible. And of course, for yourself, don't forget your meds. Don't forget, your specific items that are required for your disability, canes, wheelchairs, walkers, mobility devices, everything. And of course, something fun for yourself. I really don't have much else that, I typically pack whenever I go on vacation. Or even just for Thanksgiving. Dog safe treats, that's what I mean. That's what I needed to add in there too. Not everything Thanksgiving is safe for your dog, so have an alternative. Just pack it yourself. It's better if you make it yourself. What I usually do is I bring my own chicken and mashed potatoes. I don't use turkey, I do chicken. Chicken and mashed potatoes because my mom is very much Irish and she loves garlic. And that's typically what I do is I bring dog safe alternatives.
So what I do when I was traveling for Thanksgiving or anything, for my dogs, the strict things that I pack is depending on where you're traveling to, if it's going to be like an overnight stay or if it's just like down the street, you're definitely going to want to pack either light or big depending on the travel time and where you're going and if you're staying overnight somewhere. So make sure that you have the proper food for the dog, and then you go into like if they'll have certain toys that they like, backup gear if need be, such as vest, in case a vest breaks, or a handle, or whatever the case is, extra leashes, extra collars, even like prong collars if you use that, or whatever the case is, whatever you need to have your dog be with you to assist you during this holiday season, definitely bring extras of it if need be. Also,
Batteries,
yeah,
batteries.
yeah, and their type of food, all that kind of stuff, bedding if they need it, if you're able to, and then especially like pack your own things that you need and what is essential for you for everyday living, with your disabilities and all of that. But I have a dog that's very car sick, so I also have to pack like car sickness medication for him. So we all have to make sure, like when we have our dogs with us, if we have dogs that have sensitive stomachs or get really motion sickness, make sure we're packing for their accommodations as well, including with kids and everything else like that. Um, just make sure that everyone is accommodated to the best ability that you can, when it comes to this. And also, what I will mention as well, even though that most of our relatives do know that most likely we would have a service dog, make sure that you guys are also letting them know if you don't see a relative often, or you're going to somewhere that you rarely go to, that they're okay with your service dog going, out of common courtesy, because at the end of the day it's not your house, it's their house, and you do need permission from the owners of the house to have your service dog there in case of like their dogs are not friendly with other dogs or whatever the case is. Definitely make sure that it's okay to bring your dog with and figure out ways to accommodate your dog being there.
Yeah,
But
and
that's all I have.
especially since homes count as private domiciles, they do not fall under the ADA law protections. That is private property, and unfortunately, if your aunt Mammy says no, then it means no.
Also, if you're traveling within like your town and it's not that far of a drive for you, of course you don't have to pack heavy or anything, like packing some dog food for your dog. And we'll even get into like Thanksgiving food that your dog can have that's safe for them and everything if you want to pack that, so they're included. You can also get like really cool like dog excuse me, Thanksgiving wear, and like packing toys for them and stuff like that. But it's already going to be an overstimulating situation, because there's going to be a lot of people, a lot of food, a lot of smells, a lot of things. So making sure that you don't have to vest your dog, especially in a family house, in a family household, but you do have to ask permission to bring the dog with and make sure that they're aware of the dog and all of that. But other than that, you don't have to like really bring a vest unless you are going out of state or a long period of drive. Then I would bring it for a backup, just in case you have to stop somewhere or get gas, or go into Walmart or do something, or whatever the case is. Definitely bring a vest. But if it's down the road or it's in a town, you definitely don't have to bring a vest for that.
Yeah, and I mean, again, well, you don't have to vest your dog. Again, it's that's kind of personal preference. But if you want to vest your dog, vest your dog. If you don't want to, don't want to, don't have to.
Yeah, it's all personal preferences. I think we, all of us as handlers, we really know what to take with our dogs and everything, the precautions that we need for all of our dogs, and how to keep our dogs safe with travel. And some of us that are new handlers that are coming into this holiday season that don't know what to expect, this is mainly towards these handlers and everything. Especially with the traveling and the managing of the holiday and all of that with the service dog. While some of us older handlers that's been doing this for a while, we know what to expect, we know what to do. Some of the new handlers don't, and this is mainly brought towards them, of letting them know, like, you may be a new handler and you don't know what to expect, but there is common courtesy involved. There's also, you have to manage certain things with your dog and make sure that your dog is still behaving at a certain extent while enjoying the holiday with family members. And also, I do want to also point out that let's say that you are in town for the holiday and you are going out, to like your mom's, your dad's, your grandmother's, who cares, anyone's, right, any family member's household, and your family or you don't want to bring your service dog with. That's okay. That is okay to not want to bring a service dog with, because it's overstimulating for you to bring them with, or whatever the case is, or somebody says no. It is okay for you not to bring the service dog with. It is also okay for you to decline an invitation if they won't allow your service dog with you. That is also okay. You're not a bad person. You're not being rude. You need this medical equipment for a reason. And if the individual has a reason why they don't want to allow that dog in there for one reason or another, they're in their rights to say no, but it's also your right to say, okay, I understand what you're saying, but I'm going to decline the invitation then, without being rude.
Agreed.
I'm trying to make this topic last a little bit because we just literally took off and we did not stick on this topic for very long. It's been like 15 minutes.
I know. I mean, there's really not much else to it, though, is, just be mindful of your space, be respectful of others, bring what you need, don't bring what you don't need. If you don't need your dog, you don't need your dog.
I also like to say as a rule, like for vacations, holidays, or whatever, I'd rather have it, not need it, than need it and not have it. So if you know that, there's something like, for example, with me having 2 disabled kids, I overpack for them for a reason. I pack over extra clothes, toys, pack a bunch of devices for them, snacks, everything. I'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it, especially with 2 disabled kids and everything. So it's so much better to somewhat overpack to a certain extent than underpack and then you need something as well.
How dare you steal my saying?
That is not your saying. That's from
trademark that.
Jack and Jill, Adam Sandler. I've
Is
been
it?
saying that since Jack and Jill from Adam Sandler.
I've never once watched that movie.
Yeah, the Adam Sandler, when he played his sister Jill, she said, remember what Mom always said? It's better to have it, not need it, than need it and not have it. Because she went for the holidays to Adam Sandler went to Adam Sandler's house as her brother and stayed with them for the.
Well, we're getting off topic. We'll have to have a discussion about that later. Yeah.
Anyways, we're going to move on to the second topic. So the second topic is managing holiday stress with your SD. Discuss how service dogs can help with anxiety, PTSD, and other conditions during stressful holiday season. So I really like this topic because I do have PTSD, and my son does have a psychiatric service dog with his conditions and everything. So it's really important for us to discuss, especially to new handlers, of how to deal with the stress of the holidays and how an SD can help you, but also handle that situation if it gets too overwhelming, if that makes sense to everybody. So basically what I tend to do is if I'm getting overwhelmed or stressed out or my dog is alerting to my anxiety or PTSD, I make sure that there's a designated area that I can go in, whether that be the living room, the outside, a basement, a bathroom, a bedroom, wherever there is in the household. I talk to the owner of the household and I say, hey, is there a designated area that I could go with my service dog so I can just get some quiet time? I also have that designated area for my sons when they're feeling overwhelmed and overstimulated. There's an area that they can go to de-escalate and unstimulate from the overstimulation, and while packing like their stress toys and everything else like that, so that way they can feel more included into things.
Yeah, I feel that's very important, especially, even if you're not bringing your service dog with you, having a quiet space to go to, especially if you have like anxiety or PTSD, or even myself, like I have autism. Every year I always, ask my mom, what's the designated quiet room? So in that way, like if I need to, I call it the bug out room. If I need to bug out, I can just go in there for an hour, and just simply sit in the quiet, with my TikTok videos or my YouTube video and just decompress. Holidays are excessively stressful. I'm not going to get into it too much, but my PTSD is related to my family. It's already a stressful event, but added on top of that, my stressors are there. And so it's just kind of like, you have to value your own space and your own time. And especially if you're like me, where again, my family is my stressor, being able to effectively communicate. And even if you can't communicate, again, just find something. You know, if you got to go outside, you got to go outside. If you got to find a back bedroom, find a back bedroom. You know, if someone comes in there and is like, why are you back here? Just, you know, you can either tell them, hey, I just need quiet for like 20 minutes. You know, you don't got to go into great detail about it. That's usually what I do is I hide off in a back bedroom and I just go like, listen, I just don't feel people-y out there right now.
Oh, I remember like as a child growing up and everything when we used to go to like to my grandmother's house and it was like a 2 hour drive there and we would go there for like Thanksgiving and everything. The basement was for the teenagers, the studio room was for the kids, the living room was for the men to watch football, and then the kitchen was for the women and the dining room was for the women. But everyone could go where they want. So as a kid, I would go into the studio and play, of course. But then as I gotten older, I went down in the basement where it was a lot quieter. We played on our phones. It was not as overstimulating in the basement area than it was everywhere else. And we would be secluded from everybody and just hung out and talked and, de-escalated from situations and everything. And I really did like that because not knowing if I am autistic or not, there were some times where, I felt that the holiday was too much. That it was too many people, too many kids, too many family members, some family members that I didn't even know coming up and hugging and touching you. And it's a very overwhelming situation, especially if you don't see these people every single day in your life. And you're like, oh man, like I'm just ready to go. And I enjoyed the holiday, but not as much as I did like with Christmas or Halloween. Like those are my two favorite holidays and that I love so, so much. I do like a big family Thanksgiving and everything, but it was more or less of it's just an overwhelming situation of having all these people in your face and then having like making it to where it feels like you have to overstuff yourself every year. Like you starve yourself all the way up until like
The last minute.
the lunch or the brunch.
I don't even.
Or
I just go all that whole day without eating. I just go. You know what? My blood sugar may drop and may fall. If I have those pitfalls, I have glucose tabs. I am not ruining my day over my glucose levels.
well, I used to do that
Is it
too.
gluttony?
We used to
Yes.
eat around like 2 or 3 though, so it wasn't that long.
See, my family, we go a little bit later than that. My mom spends what, like from sun up to almost just about sundown just cooking, and then we have dinner at like three or not at three, at like 5 or 6 in the evening.
See, and that's where like even like Martha Stewart was like, you should have dinner around like 2, 3, maybe 4 o'clock in the afternoon because everybody's hungry, blood sugars are low, all of that stuff, and people can watch
Listen, my mother
football
never
and
got that memo. My mom says
that's
we
just
gonna go
a
all out.
recommendation.
I know my mom. You gotta
Like
remember, my
having
mom's
like
an Irish
a
woman.
after like a lunchy dinner type of meal that like the thinking is, and then being able to take home leftovers and then like before bed, like maybe having a turkey sandwich or having a little bit of
Not the
leftovers
turkey
from the
sandwich before
Thanksgiving
bed.
dinner and then go to bed.
Listen,
Well, I'm
okay,
not
so
a
my
big fan of
mom
turkey
cooks.
though.
My mom usually cooks for all of my siblings plus my dad and plus herself. So around 7-ish people, 7, 8, maybe 9 people, 10 if we're
Okay,
really
let's cook some
excessively
more.
lucky. So yeah, my mom starts from sun up to sundown. She just she starts cooking and then there's no stopping her. She just goes and she cooks large meals. We basically have a buffet style. So I mean, it's just it's a lot. But do be
See, my
mindful of your
grandmother,
blood
she cooks a
sugars.
lot. She cooks a lot for like, but she also like we have like here's how my dad's side of the family is. It is my aunt, my dad, then another
Mhm.
aunt, then another aunt, and then their kids. So then my oldest aunt, she has 2 daughters. They got married. Now they have 2 kids each, I think. I think it's 2 kids each. And then my dad has me, my brother, and my sister. My sister has 3. I have 2. My brother has 1. And then going down to my other aunt, she has 1 kid. He has a girlfriend, but they don't have any kids. They just have pets. going down the second one, the other aunt that I have has two daughters. One, the other one, I believe has a boyfriend, but not 100% sure. But growing up, like, we had all these kids and, like, grandkids and everything else like that coming in. And we had, like, a lot of people, like, overwhelming the house. It was, like, a bunch of people growing
Well, you
up
also got to
before my
remember
kid born.
in my family, we have myself. We had two brothers, which rest in peace, one of them. This year's going to be excessively lonely. And then we had my two sisters, my mom, my dad. My cousin usually would show up, and then my aunt and my uncle. And it's a lot of people, and especially since most of them were usually under the age of 18 at the time, and thankfully it did start getting a little bit better, but it's like it's still a lot of people. I don't know what we're gonna do this year though. Rest in peace, my brother. We're still trying to figure out if we're even gonna have a Thanksgiving this year. Just because it's such kind of like a we're a piece.
Like that way with my mom.
Yeah, my grand, we don't even know if we want to come over to your house because we don't know if we're just gonna like burst out crying. So it's like, oh no, is the tradition gonna unalive itself? Oh no, my childhood, it's gone.
We kind of like my mom. Like I would, like, after my mom passed. Well, it actually started like before that. My grandparents, they moved to Tennessee when I was getting married to my husband. So that's when the tradition stopped, was when they moved to Tennessee. And then a couple months later, my mom passed. So it kind of stopped when my mom died. Um, and everything. So I haven't really had a family Thanksgiving like a big family Thanksgiving in a long while. I mainly just celebrate with my husband's side of the family now and
Yeah.
everything. And they do it like this year where we've done it for the past couple years is we go over to my husband's dad's girlfriend's house. My husband's grandmother, all their family and stuff, and some of their family comes over, so it's pretty decent and everything around and stuff. It's just not as big as it used to be, and I think that that's a little bit better because I feel like if we were to do the same Thanksgiving that I grew up with, my sons, I don't think they would react. You know what I mean? Like I think that they would be
Yeah.
really overwhelmed,
Yeah,
and I'd
but
be running after them.
yeah, and at the same time, it's one of those things. They're like, well, what would happen?
It was a nice time. I do miss it. But I also like I don't know if it would be the same without my mom there. Kind of like how your grandparents feel as well with, your brother. Like I don't think it's going to be the same without them there. And it really sucks.
Yeah, and it's really like starting to like sink in now that it's like, oh no. Oh, these holidays are so hard. Like, not that my brother wasn't like a pivotal part of our family dynamic. He really wasn't a pivotal part, but it's you grow up almost 20 years with a kid, and it's like it's such a hollow feeling of like they may not have been the be all end all, but you definitely notice whenever they're missing. I mean, like even today, like. I decided, to get my little brother a little Christmas tree. I haven't put any decorations on it because unfortunately in my area we're about to experience a whole bunch of storms tomorrow, which yippee. But I put out a little tree at his crash site, and I'm texting my family very furiously. I'm like, Mom, Dad, we can go decorate a tree for Nick. We can go decorate a tree for Nick. Let's go do it. And but it's not going to be the same. It's going to be weird. It is going to be very strange. But again, it's okay to say no. It's okay to not be okay with certain situations. Even I'm debating on whether or not I want to go to the Thanksgiving this year myself. Because again, it's just, it's raw memories and, it's still raw. I mean, my brother just passed away this year in February. So it's still raw nerve.
mom, when she passed, it was 2021. So it's been about like 4 years since she's. So it was super hard the first year without her, especially the first year with after having my first son and then my second son and everything of her not being there. And
Well, I got some
it's
pointers from you.
it was super.
Terrifying, no,
It's
but I'm not
easier
taking
not to
pointers.
think about it. I said I just try not to think about it and just live in the moment.
See, that's
Because
why I'm thinking,
I
like,
feel like, in my opinion, knowing like I don't know how your brother was, but with my mother, it's she wouldn't want us to sit there and sulk the holiday season away, especially
yeah,
when
it's
it
the
came
same
to like
thing for
Halloween and
him.
Christmas.
For him, he wouldn't want us to sulk, but at the same time, I'm just, that's just kind of the
It's hard
person that I
not
am. Is
to.
I'm. It's hard not to, and I'm a very sentimental person. Especially whenever it comes to my family. I mean, like I'm physically trying not to cry right now, but it kind of is what it is.
Right. It's hard, and I get it and everything. It's just it is how it is. So while we're all here trying to make it through, and do what we can when it comes to the holiday season, we got to make sure that we're, internalizing our like not internalizing, but knowing where our triggers are, knowing our stress indicators, finding spaces that we can go and relax in and give positive energy back in. And if you've lost somebody this year or following years after that, a loved one, family member that you really held deep onto the holiday season with, just know that there are people within your shoes that went through the same thing or going through the same thing, and it's the time of the year to try to celebrate with the family that you do have, if it's possible for you to, and just have some turkey, celebrate it with your animals. If you don't have family members that you could go to, buy a smaller size turkey, get some stuff for you, make yourself a Thanksgiving meal, and celebrate it with your animals. That's what I would do if I was a single with no kids or anything. I would celebrate it with my animals. I would make sure that I gave them food that they can eat and, eat it with my animals. And that's
Yeah,
just
I
the
mean,
type I
that's
am.
probably what I'm gonna end up doing this year. I mean, I did get some turkey from my next door neighbor, uncooked turkey, and I plan on making a quick brine for that, and just roasting that in my oven a little bit. But again, we probably should move from this before I start like bawling my eyes out. But let's move on to like safe foods that our dogs can have.
Jasper.
So,
Okay, so our third
foods.
topic for this evening is Thanksgiving food. What are safe? What is not? Break down the holiday foods that is dangerous for your dogs and alternatives to keep them included in the festivities. So we're going to break down into two categories. So this first category that we're going to talk about is safe foods for the dog to eat, what your dogs can and can't eat. Bumble, you're going to be the one that mostly talks about this topic because I have no idea, and this is actually going to interest me and knowing what dogs can eat. I know that there are certain things that they can't eat, but let's break it down into safe foods, and I'll even ask questions for you for this time, so that way if somebody has questions, I can ask it, or I'll just like ask questions that maybe some people would be thinking.
Wow, I guess I am special. So safe foods that are typically safe for your dog to eat are going to be foods without garlic, without onions, and of course without raisins or grapes. So if you wouldn't give it to your dog normally, typically don't give it to your dogs. If it's got a lot of salt in it, don't give it to your dogs. Hold on one second. Safe foods are going to be is, it's going to be like turkey breast, dark meat, light meat, no skin, no bones. Do not ever, ever give your dog bones, especially cooked ones. Raw ones are kind of okay, but definitely not ones.
I heard some people say that dogs can have raw turkey bone or like the innards from
The
like the
neck.
turkey that
They
you
can have
did.
the raw turkey necks.
About like the gizzards and all that stuff in a turkey,
They
like
can have
all
those
the
too.
innards that you can get out of a turkey.
Yeah, they can. But moderation, you don't want to be overloading your dog with rich foods. Otherwise, their tummies are just going to, absolutely go haywire. Let's see what else. Um, sometimes stuffing is good for them. Again, depending on your family's typical kind of,
Let's go
Thanksgiving
with
prep
that
and
then.
whatnot.
Like, what does your mom put in her stuffing to make it safe for dogs?
Put in it. She doesn't put
Okay,
onions.
that works.
And she also grapes or anything that would be harmful for a dog. Like my mom puts carrots, celery, corn, green beans. What else does she put in there? Of course, juices, the good stuff. And she put in there, of course, bread. Bread's always fine to give your dog. Plain bread. If you want to toast it, you can toast it, but otherwise, just plain bread's fine. Let's see, what else? Oh, what? Pure pumpkin. Not pumpkin pie. Not spiced pumpkin. Pure pumpkin.
Pumpkin
If you want to
seeds?
make your dogs... What?
Pumpkin seeds?
And unless you want to grow a pumpkin patch in your backyard, I don't recommend it. But pumpkin seeds are actually known for deworming in larger animals, like farm animals. I've heard, tale that it can help a dog if it's got worms too, but it's up to you. Discretion. If you want to give your dog pumpkin seeds, just know you probably want to cook them first. Otherwise, you're going to grow a pumpkin patch, especially if you don't clean up.
Green bean casserole.
Again, depends on your recipe. Typically, green bean casserole is very salt laden, and usually there are sometimes onions in it. I typically recommend excessively salty foods. So I don't recommend green bean casserole. Unless you make it a dog-safe version, then maybe.
And like a dog have like pumpkin pie?
No. So spices inside of pumpkin pies that are actually really bad for dogs. But what you can do is alternatively is you can pop a sweet potato in the oven and put it in their dog bowl.
Okay.
No additives, just a sweet potato.
We put a little bit of whipped cream on there, just a little bit.
Sure thing. Spice it up a little bit with a little whipped cream. They'll love it. Hell, I've even there. Singular marshmallow roll. Singular. Yams. Yeah, you can do yams or sweet potatoes. Those are absolutely wonderful. Plain cranberries. I recommend fresh cranberries or frozen cranberries, not the canned stuff. The canned stuff sometimes comes with additives in there that I don't put in my own body. And that's just me. Is there... you can give your dog celery, corn, but not on the cob. Green beans, apples, no cores or seeds.
I've seen corn not really good for dogs because it just like for humans, it just goes right through them like really bad, and I worry that that's something that can like really harm a.
Well, I mean that goes through everybody.
Touche. And I also want to preference
digest in the stomach.
well, because hang on, I also want a preference as well. What we are talking about right now is safe foods for neurotypical dogs. Now, if your dog has a sensitive palate and you know that there's certain things that your dog can't eat, of course, adjust to that sensitive palate. This is just for neurotypical dogs that don't really have too many allergies to certain things. I want to also preference
this is for gastrointestinally strong and non-allergy ridden dogs.
Yeah.
So they're typically all the safe foods.
That's
quinoa
a good,
wonderful.
decent list for all the safe foods.
Hold on. Quinoa. Hold on. Quinoa and rice are also wonderful for dogs as well because again, that's a grain and that's actually good for your dog. But
rice on Thanksgiving.
My mom.
I don't know what quinoa is.
It's a form of rice.
I've never had rice on Thanksgiving. But anyways, let's go into the topic of like what is bad for dogs on Thanksgiving. And of course, I'm going to start off by saying any type of chocolate, milk chocolate or dark chocolate, milk chocolate typically a little bit better than dark chocolate, but you just want to stay away from chocolate altogether,
Yeah.
just because you're allergic to it, and you may have some, runs afterwards, depending on the type of chocolate that they had.
It's also
But we
relative to
don't want
body
accidents on
size.
the holiday season, guys. So make sure that if you're having chocolate pies or any type of candy or any type of chocolate involved, keep away from the dog. But I'm gonna let you go off and talk about all the ones that typically or you shouldn't be giving your dog on
All
Thanksgiving.
right. All right. So here's the list. Of course, chocolate. Again, relative to body size, don't give your dog chocolate, period. But if your dog does eat a little bit of chocolate, I recommend also having this on hand, hydrogen peroxide. The faster you can get it out of them, the easier it's going to be on you, the cheaper the vet bill is going to be. Let's see. Do not give your dog just that's a real no-go. There's a lot of salts in it. There's a lot of preservatives. There's garlics. There's onion powders. Lots of sugars. Typically just not really good for dogs.
I've always given my dogs ham.
I mean, it's on how you cook it, and if you cook it from raw, or if you do like what my family, which is where they go to the store.
Hang on 1 second. I've always given my dog ham.
It's small amounts. Just don't overdo it. Let's see, what else? Garlic, of course. Onions, of course. Grapes and raisins, don't do it. Leeks. That's another one.
My family cooks it. I don't give them like a big, huge thing, though.
Yeah, if you give them like a tiny, tiny piece, it's gonna be fine. Because those are part of the garlic family. Raw potatoes. Raw potato, don't do it. Just I recommend it. Depending on mashed potatoes that you do, if your family uses the box mix, don't give it to your dogs. If it's made from scratch, of course, you want to do it from scratch for yourself. What I do is I just make straight up potatoes with cheese, and that's it. And that's the dog potato. It's literally labeled dog potato. Do not eat. I also dog gravy with it as well. So it's just gravy that's safe for dogs. Let's see. I said canned cranberries. Don't do it. Pre-made desserts. Don't do them. There are some, pre-made desserts like, again, pumpkin pie that have spices in them that can be harmful for your dog. Pecan pie.
Apple pie?
Again, preservatives. Pumpkin pie is still dangerous. Let's see. Oh, apple pie. Again, depending on your recipes, I don't recommend it because cinnamon's usually in it. I'm not really sure behind the science behind it, but cinnamon's typically not good for dogs. It really gives them allergies sometimes. Let's see. Pie filling. And again, depending on your recipe, some stuffing. Stuffing can be an eye. Again, depending on how it's made. If you make it with garlic and onion, of course, don't give it to your dog. Again, I make my own stuff for my dogs that is dog safe. So that way they don't feel left out. What else is there? Oh. Too much cheese. My family, we, again, do a buffet style. So we have things like olives and heart of palm. Do not give those to your dog. Let's see. Do not give your dog chickens or turkey gravy. Those things are usually way too salty and can cause some digestional issues. Anything with sage in it. Don't give your dog sage. That's bad for them. Most dogs are highly allergic to sage. Nuts, pretty bad. Nutmeg, mushrooms, fat trimmy foods. And that's usually the reason why you don't give your dog ham, is because ham is usually sometimes fatty. Don't give your dogs corn on the cob. If it's off the cob, then that's fine. Don't give your dogs butter. No butter dog. No butter for the dog. Don't give your dogs bread. And definitely no adult beverages. And that's typically about it.
Yeah, desserts can they eat? Let's go into like more detail of like dog friendly desserts that either we could bring or we could have like a family member prepare.
Um, make my own stuff just because not that I don't trust my family, but sometimes my mom tends to get a little carried away. And so some dog friendly desserts that I typically make. Usually I make a peanut butter and banana kind of cookie for my dogs. Again, it's just whole wheat flour, an egg, peanut butter, banana. Throw it in a bowl, good to go. And then I bake it. Another is you can do pumpkin puree. There's no nutmegs, no spices, nothing. Just pure pumpkin. Just put it in a bowl, put a little bit of cream on top, you're good to go. Same thing with the sweet potato. If you really want your dog to have something, I would highly recommend just going to, Walmart and grabbing yourself a sweet potato or a yam, tossing it in your oven, and just cooking it. Split it in half, make sure to throw some cream on top. You're good to go. I also do plain yogurt and apples with oats as another. And I, again, just schlep it into a bowl and call it good with all the other stuff. Blueberries, blackberries, raspberries, strawberries. If you're like my family, we also do watermelon for some reason. My family's weird. We have all the foods. Let's see what else. You can, if you want to try to make it yourself, sweet potato chews. All you do is just slice up a sweet potato and bake it until crispy. It's good, lasts long, they're pretty decent. You can also make your cakes as well. There's some wonderful dog cake recipes on Google. There's like peanut butter, whole wheat, baking soda, and eggs. They're simple to make. Let's see. You know your dog best. Don't go over dairy. Because dogs don't do dairy very well, and they will actually have huge blowouts. My sister found that out last year with my dog Ace. She basically emptied an entire can of whipped cream on the ground for him, and that was so much fun having to let him have 30 minutes to dump his gut.
I guess, before we wrap up, because we do got, 10 more minutes or 9 more minutes, let's talk about, a little bit of, family activities that we could do with our dogs.
One of the things that, I do with my dogs is, of course, I run my dogs before I go anywhere, with my family. Because not that my family doesn't love my dogs are extremely energetic. And they tend to jump on people and stuff like that. So, I do recommend before getting started with the holidays, make sure your dog is taken care of. Groom them, make sure that their nails are trimmed, make sure that their ears are clean, make sure that, they have a quick run before everybody starts, showing up at your house. Because again, it gets overwhelming, even for dogs. Let's see.
Before you leave, if you're planning on leaving your dog at your house, doing some activities with your dog and wearing them out before you leave is also a really good thing.
Yeah, that's it. Making sure that your dogs have up-to-date tags. A lot of places they'll throw their dog out in the backyard and the dog will escape. I see it with just about every holiday. Make sure your dog is microchipped. Make sure your dog has a collar on it. Make sure that that collar has either a number written on it itself or has a tag. Always make sure it's going to be found.
Right. Always having updated stuff is always the nice thing to have, especially with updated tags saying that they're vaccinated on there, just in case something were to happen and your dog were to escape and run away and everything, and let's say the pound got to them, they already know A, the dog is vaccinated, and B, they also know where they can find you for your dog.
Yeah, another is you can do a little mat, like put like treats inside of a snuffle mat, that are again dog safe. You can do like what I do is I have a silicone snuffle mat, so that way it's easy to clean with a hose afterwards. It's like I stuff turkey underneath it. I'll stuff the dog safe mashed potatoes in it. I'll put all sorts of treats and whatnot under there. That's another one. That one's pretty, mentally stimulating, and it also helps them calm down. Let's see what else is there. The Thanksgiving charcuterie that I plan on doing this year. Somebody actually brought that up on Facebook, and I actually thank them so much for it.
I was gonna say, also really quick for the charcuterie board is you could make a dog friendly one out of that too. And
yeah, you can do carrot sticks, green beans, apple slices, of course with no seeds, plain turkey, and blueberries. Just let them go at it.
I also saw this as well. Like if people are like putting their dogs in like doggy daycares, or you have service dog handler friends that live near you, you could also do a Friendsgiving. It's called a Friendsgiving, where you have you and your dogs come together, you guys eat a Thanksgiving meal while they have their Thanksgiving meal as service dogs and stuff and their friends and blah blah blah. That's also a good holiday tradition that you could implement into your lives to include your service dogs as well. So that way, if you are planning on not having your service dog with you on the holiday, you could do it like the day before, the day after Thanksgiving, or whatever the case is, to do that Friendsgiving, or a week before, or whatever the case is, week before Thanksgiving, so that the dog is somewhat included, and you don't have to feel bad. But personally, what I'm going to say is either way, whether you include your dog or not, the dog's not going to care. I just suggest you wear the dog out prior to leaving the dog, if you plan on leaving the dog at home for the holiday, so that way they are tired out.
Yeah. Something I do with my dogs is I do trick and so basically have like my cousin, she'll come over and she'll be like, "Can I play with your dogs?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure. Do you want to help me train them?" I'll have her do all the simple commands, the sit, the shake, the place, the go sit in the corner, the sit pretties, the basic tricks that my dogs can know how to do. And I actually have my family members, reinforce that behavior. Is I'll give my family member a small little baggie of treats in their pockets. So if my dogs are acting good, or, they want to do a little bit of, training, they can just go, "Here you go, here's a little treat." And again, they're usually holiday little tidbits that I use. So like, again, I do little bits of turkey, I do little bits of chicken. Sometimes I'll make banana peanut butter, what are they called? Mini chip. Those things are awful to make, but they are great for training rewards. And I'll make them myself in my oven, like a cookie. You can also do...
You can find a lot of good things on like Google and YouTube to do like holiday themed treats for the dogs, and that is healthy for them and safe for them as well. I'm going to add into that as well. So that way, if you plan on doing like your own separate holiday with them, or whatever the case is, or bringing them with, or whatever is going on, you can have something separate for them, so that way they're equally as included, and you don't feel bad of them like not having anything of the good food while keeping them safe as well.
Oh, that reminds me of the one that I actually plan on doing this year. I actually thought of this one myself, was working on keeping my dogs out of the kitchen. I'm going to call it Help Cook. And I'm going to basically put a training mat, one of my training mats on the floor for both my dogs. And I'm going to have them do their place command and their watch me command. And every now and then they're going to snack. To, it's not only a good way, but to keep your dog out of the kitchen, but also to, have them also be included. Pretty much all I've got. Another thing that you could probably do is if your dog gets overstimulated, in that quiet room, having something playing that's soft music. A decompression for dogs.
Your dog has an environment where they can just chill out in too. To
Yeah.
add on really quick, like if you're going over to a family member's house, make sure that there's an ample, like a room area or the outside area to where like your dog can just detox. Especially for going out of town, like trips can be very taxing on a dog. So I would definitely make sure to look over everything when it comes down to this holiday season, especially if you have a service dog and you're bringing it out into spaces where not normally it's supposed to be in, or you go to a lot. So just keeping that in mind, making sure that we're thinking of others and we're trying to be as inclusive as possible and understanding as possible for the holiday season as well. But I think that this would be a good stopping point for the podcast today, guys. So thanks so much for joining me and Bees on today's podcast, the Thanksgiving edition of the Beyond the Leash podcast. I hope your holiday is peaceful, safe, and fulfilled of gratitude, and that your service dog gets the most enjoyment of this holiday with you. Please do not forget to subscribe, share the podcast with other handlers, follow along for more episodes, and until next time, stay thankful, stay safe, and stay beyond the leash.
Gobble till you wobble.
What? That caught me
Gobble
by
till you wobble,
surprise.
baby. Yeah, gobble till you wobble.
Train the service dogs if you have them and haven't already. Good
Why
night,
is there
everybody.
no songs about Thanksgiving? I want to hear some gobble, gobble, make the booty wobble. Mashed potatoes, gravy, sipping on a bottle. Gobble, gobble, make the booty wobble. Mashed potatoes, gravy, sipping on a bottle. Booty wobble.